And not only it helped me beat cancer one time, but it helped me beat cancer twice, 6 months apart. And so that's my story. And then one of the things that I realized was that in realizing that there was something greater, I started to realize that wealth, financial wealth, there's much more purpose to it.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pro Show. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Gustavo Pineiro. He's been making waves in the real estate investing space. Gustavo, it's awesome to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And our listeners are going to love hearing about how you've built your business and that you know what it's like to have true purpose and wealth with what you're doing. So let's dive right in. Gustavo, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get started in investing?
It started out like when I was 18 years old. So, I used to work night shifts and would be awake throughout the whole night, and they would have these crazy infomercials. And one of the infomercials, and I may be dating myself here, was Carlton Sheets. And I remember spending my nights looking at Carlton Sheets and like, yes, I could do this. But I was so intimidated. I was so intimidated that I wouldn't even dial the phone number to order the package so I could have financial freedom. But that dream never went away. I really loved real estate, but I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't have mentorship in that. And then so fast forward maybe about 20 plus years, I was working in the pharmaceutical industry. And I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but there was something like, that there's got to be something better than this. Now, I had a great job, but I knew that there was something better than this. There was like what I wanted to get to was on the other side of the hill to gain that financial freedom that I so thrive for. And so I took a leap of faith. I quit my job at the pharmaceutical company and I actually left New York and moved to Florida. And in that, I was like, okay, I could find deals all day long, but like maybe some of your audience, I didn't have a penny in my account, and I had to figure out how the money worked. So I went into real estate, but in the aspect of learning how mortgages work. So I could understand how the money worked, how to put things together, how to finance these deals. Because my thinking was that if I knew how the money worked, I could, and when I get the deals, I knew how to put the pieces together. And so that's helped me a lot because in 2007, when the market crashed, I was able to do just that. Take advantage of these properties that were once $300,000 that I now could get them for $30,000 and buy these properties because I knew how the money worked. So that's how I got started.
Yeah, and that market was chaotic, and you were newer to the game. How did it shape your approach?
Well, the great thing about it was this, right? I can't emphasize, you're gonna either learn the streets or you're gonna learn with a mentor. You're gonna pay somehow. And I know that old adage, the school of hard knocks. And so I fortunately got a mentor.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I just came real humble. I would call him about 5, 10 times a day. And I was like, I didn't even know how to read a contract. He would help me. He was so patient with me. And he was in the hustle too. And that's the important part, to make sure that someone who's actually performing at the level that you want to perform at, and use their guidance. And so he helped me with my first deal. And I remember that deal so vividly because in that time, in the wholesale market, because I was wholesaling initially, and he goes, "Oh, I got this deal, I got this property." I was like, "Listen, I got a buyer for it." He goes to me, "Gustavo, this deal is very thin." And I knew what he meant by that, meaning that there's not enough money for us, for both of us to make money on this deal, because it wasn't even his deal, it was another person's deal. He goes, "You're gonna have to add your commission on top." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it, sold the property, was at the closing table. He congratulates me, and then he goes, with a smile, he looks at me off to the side, he goes, "So how'd you do it?" I really didn't have any idea what he was talking about. I was like, "How'd I do what?" He goes, "How'd you do it?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he asked me a third time. He goes, "How'd you do it?" Now, mind you, I didn't even know how to read a closing statement at this time. So I don't even know what he was talking about. And he points to the closing statement and he goes, "You made $10,000. I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I made 2,500. And I smiled at him. I told him, I said, "See, I told you I was going to be your best student." And that was my first deal. I made actually more money than my mentor on my first deal. And then, a few months passed by, turned into a year. And at that time, I was learning so quickly because I was just so absorbed with trying to like finally get out the gate. And I was hungry and I was stopping at nothing, that he finally recognized me about a year later as his peer. And to me, that was a big honor because no longer I was his student. He would refer to me as his peer, and we would converse about deals, strategies, areas to invest in, and all that. Yeah.
Wow. And then, so you're, rapidly learning, on the job, on the go. And then your story, it took a big turn in 2011. What was that like?
Oh, yes. In 2011, it was the biggest blessing, but some people may look at it as a curse. So I was literally making money, laughing all the way to the bank. I was on top of the world. My business was booming. At the time, my partner was pregnant with our son, and I go to Asia for the very first time. I was so excited. I didn't even speak the language and didn't realize it until I got there, right? And finally, I met somebody who actually spoke English. And so, like, I'm talking to him, and we go to this Vietnamese restaurant, and I'm getting some pho, right? And if you're like me, you know that pho tastes the best spicy, right? So I put in some sriracha, and then I go and I'm eating my food, and then eventually we're having a conversation. And the gentleman leans in and goes, "Speak up, I can't hear you. Speak up, I can't hear you." I'm like, "Man, they must make the sriracha here in Vietnam a little differently that they make in the States," and didn't think anything of it. I get back to the States, and about a month later, my voice sounds a little raspy still. And if you're like me, you go onto Dr. Google and you do the research, and anytime you do research, it always seems like you have all the symptoms. So I had checked off, I had every single symptom. They said, if you have these symptoms, you need to go to an ENT, a ears, nose, throat doctor. So I go to the doctor, and I'm greeted like with this little cynical smile that the doctor has, and she has this tool in her hand. It was a hose, with a light at the end of it. And I'm like, where are you going to put that at? Right? I'm like, where are you going to put that at? And then she goes, I'm going to put it up your nose. And so she puts it up my nose and it goes down the back of my throat.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Sounds disgusting and hurts even worse, right? So then she goes, okay, we got to do some more tests. Okay, maybe this is normal protocol. I don't know what to do. So then we do these tests, and a few weeks later, I come back in. This time I come with my partner, right? And so we're in the waiting room, giggling, laughing, trying to come up with names for our son. And they call me to the back. And so we go to the examination room. And when we get to the examination room, the doctor comes in. Now she comes in, she has her back towards us. And when she turns around, she looks as if she saw a ghost. She sits next to me. She puts her hand on my leg. She goes, Mr. Pineiro, I'm sorry. You have cancer. Talk about my world imploding. It just closed in on me. And that walk from the examination room was the longest walk of my life. All I could just do was hug my wife and cry in the parking lot. And then it was weird because, like, I started getting flashes of my life. I started getting flashes of my youth growing up in the South Bronx, dodging gunshots on the way to school, and seeing drug addicts. And I started seeing all the reasons why I should have died, literally died. And then I got to see me walking across the stage, graduating not one time, not two times, but three times, when I should have never made it, when I should have been either dead or in jail. And I saw the perseverance that I had, and I needed to pull on that, right? And for some of your audience members, they may be in that same space, that they're finding out that there's something greater in them that they know themselves to be, because that's what I found out. And not only it helped me beat cancer one time, but it helped me beat cancer twice, 6 months apart. And so that's my story. And then one of the things that I realized was that in realizing that there was something greater, I started to realize that wealth, financial wealth, there's much more purpose to it. If you're just chasing money just to chase money, then it's not worth it. You have to really understand your why and feed into that and understand that there's different aspects of wealth as well. Those are the things I learned during that time.
Yeah, wow. Wow. And you're here today, which is awesome. You beat cancer twice. And going through that, how did that change how you operated your business and, just like your outlook and your planning? I mean, gosh, it probably affected, just about every facet of your life going through that.
I could tell you this, the first time that I went through the cancer, um, if it wasn't for work, I probably wouldn't have made it because I focused myself in and I was so time regimented because I realized I'm staring down the barrel of this gun and I need to create legacy for my children and I have no time to waste. I would literally work from 8 to maybe 11 o'clock. That's it. Not even a straight 4 hours. And I would have to go get radiation therapy and then I was doing some other stuff. And to tell you the truth, it was so exhausting, but in that year, because I was so focused, I closed 85 deals. And in that year, it wasn't just closing, just wholesaling them. I wish it was just that. It was closing them, rehabbing them, and then selling them. So it was like we were doing, there was some months that we had 5, 10 deals a month that were just ongoing projects. Some projects were longer and some projects were shorter. And it was just turning it around. So that focus allowed me to understand and tap into something. And that's why I say that the purpose is so great. And when you're lined up with your purpose, all those things fall into place.
Absolutely. And, I'm assuming you really buckled down with, you know, using that time wisely, how you had it when you were working. Were there specific strategies that you leaned into during that time that, worked well for you then and maybe still do now?
I think that understanding what to delegate.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
One of the things, obviously, because I didn't have that much time available, so understanding who and what to delegate to people so that way you can make the most out of your time, whether it be, a contractor or whether it be to an assistant to do certain things. It was just making the maximum use of my time and delegating it and not necessarily pinching every penny because sometimes in delegation you have to pay a little bit more, but it freed up so much of my time so that way I could focus in on getting better.
Absolutely. And, then kind of fast forward into today a little bit, what kind of markets are you operating in and what type of real estate are you focused in today?
Great question. I think that, and this is obviously almost like 20 years in the business. Looking back, if I could start all over again, I would have started where I'm at right now, which is I was starting commercial. I initially made all my money in residential because of the low entry points, because there was different strategies in that. And then I started to go to smaller multifamily, but right now the return on the investment, and there's certain deals that I can actually get into those deals with creative financing a lot with a lot less money than it'll cost me to get into, say, a two or $300,000 home. And so it's using you leveraging those strategies and the return on investment. So I would say commercial, specifically mobile home parks or units 30 units north, 30 to 50, maybe 100 units at a time. But again, understanding that you have to have a certain amount of infrastructure in place and being able to delegate those tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the commercial market, there's so many different ways that you can go. For you, what kinds of properties are you looking at for commercial real estate?
I like residential because, and some people may have different strategies versus like say strip malls or whatever, because people always need a place to live. Businesses can shut down, um, and there's different ways that you make income on those. Yes, you can have triple net versus not having that with more like dealing with rental units, but to tell you the truth, I like the rental units a little bit more, especially when you have the right tenants and the right infrastructure in place. You get a handyman or whatever, and you have your office with all the people, your leasing office or property managers. It makes it a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, and with all those moving parts going on with that, are there any specific tools or systems that you rely on to keep things going smoothly?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you to find the deals, obviously we have different softwares that we use to find the deals and just, leveraging my network, but obviously as well property management tools to make sure that who's paying and to make sure that paying the right amount. And I've learned to take advantage of different ways of receiving payments and collecting that. So it's just all about organization, and then you could run it like clockwork. And man, I remember the days when I first started and it wasn't organized and it was just such a nightmare. I go back to the days when I was still using spreadsheets to collect rent. It was a nightmare, and there was definitely money that slipped through the cracks, and where I didn't account for certain things. So yeah, definitely you got to put those infrastructures in place.
Yeah, and you mentioned leveraging your network, and networking is so important as an investor. For you, how has networking shaped your growth? And what kind of advice would you give to someone who, wants to do more networking and level up?
Great question. So I think that the first part is just understanding your network is equal to your net worth. And we hear that being thrown around, but you got to really understand like, so who is in your circle right now? And how are you leveraging them? And the way I say this, the advice is not what you can do for me, but what can I do for you? I find that that works out. Being a go-giver and actually helping somebody else out actually comes back tenfold to you. That's what I've always found out. And, in terms of your network, I think that also understanding that if you're at, like, say, for me, I hate networking events to be totally straight with you. Um, because there's people that just want to shake everybody's hands, like if they're the mayor and they know everybody. And a lot of times I sit back and I watch, but they're not doing deals. They know everybody, but they're not doing deals. And so when you go to networking events, I think that you just be cognizant of who are the key players. Sometimes it's maybe one, two, maybe three people and just meet those three people. And you'll do business more with those three people than if you met all the 100 people that were there. And I think that's very important to know how to identify who those people are, how you can give into their business or help them multiply their business, and then you'll reap the rewards afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And, building those relationships, that's how you build wealth in that networking instead of just making those shallow connections.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I draw upon an experience that I had. Young guy, he must have been like mid-20s, maybe 24, and he had did one deal before, and clearly I had a lot more experience than him. So there wasn't, if anything, he would wanna work with me, and I switched up the tables a little bit, and I was like, "Well, how can I help you with your business?" Right? And so, like, because of that, it created a certain synergy between us, a certain amount of trust, and I ended up mentoring him. And he bought that year, he bought about 11 properties. And for somebody who's less than a year in the business, that's a lot of properties to move around. And I think that I was involved anywhere between 5 and 6 of those properties. Some I helped sell, some I bought off of him. And then maybe a few months later, after we kind of like he just kind of started rocking and rolling on his own, he was making over $250,000 a month. And so it was just in that space of being able to give to him, and I made probably close to 100,000 with him in that deal, over those different deals or more. And it just goes to show that you can never have too much knowledge where you can't give to someone else. And that's the very important part of networking that a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, wow. That's an incredible story. Well, you have been, building wealth in so many different areas. So for you with the future, what does that look like? Are you aiming to scale up, expand new markets when it comes to real estate or something else?
Well, yes, all of the above. I'm scaling more to larger properties, obviously, and and going more to, like I said, the mobile home parks and larger scales of stuff and creating syndications, more complex types of deals that we're getting into right now. And funny enough, and I gotta be totally candid about this, that like, once I battled cancer, God placed this seed in my heart. And it was to help other people to realize that there's different aspects of wealth. And part of that would be understanding that wealth is not just income, but wealth is also intimate relationships. How you work within the community, how the community works within you, wealth of your health, wealth of your education, your spirituality, and most importantly, how you don't squander your time, because that's our biggest asset. And teaching people how to do that and understanding the importance of creating the residual income will give them the access to be able to fill those different areas of life so they can achieve true wealth. And so that's my passion project. That's what I love to do, and help individuals to get to that stage of their life as well as laugh all the way to the bank.
Love it. Well, Gustavo, before we wrap up, if someone wants to reach out, connect with you, learn more about your approach to real estate and true wealth, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
The best way to get in touch with me is through Instagram on Wealthonomics Society. That's my handle, Wealthonomics Society on Instagram. They could just DM me and we could see how we could work together.
Gustavo, thank you so much for sharing your story, your wisdom. I love that, for you, real estate isn't just about building wealth, it's about building purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And creating the legacy that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Gustavo.
Thank you for inviting me. It was my pleasure.
And for our listeners tuning in, if you got value from this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pro Show. We've got more conversations coming up with pros like Gustavo who are redefining what's possible in real estate. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.